reports right now because I don't have money to do that just yet. I'm still,
Personally, I'm waiting for the opportunity to change places with an identical prince.
Well, you mean Prince the singer?
Absolutely, that is what I mean.
You mean he's dead, right?
Which would make it easy to. Oh, well, you don't have to dance.
Well, you don't have to dance, but you do have to wear skin tight clothing and have your bare ass out. So you're thinking about way too long.
I'm thinking about my Halloween costume now. Be the 6'3" prince.
With just cheeks out. I don't know how well that would go.
Excuse me, sir, I need your largest assless chaps.
Yeah, we have them right here. What size do you that's the not even the funniest thing because you think about it, you're before, just think say 20 years ago, you'd be like, I need your largest assless chaps, and they're like, the largest ones we have are men women's size medium or something. Now you can just get them custom made as you need them. They're how much of your ass do you want out? Do you want undercarriage or overcarriage? Do you want your cheeks to squeeze together? Or do you want how do you want?
What the fuck is an overcarriage?
Maybe you want to be sensible with some of your ass out, but not your full ass, just the bottom cheeks, but covering the top portion of it.
It's the hint.
The hint of it. So it's just a hint of butt
Although,
cheeks.
Why do we say assless chaps? Are there any other kind? Aren't they just pants if they're chaps with an ass?
I guess so, but that's a question we'll answer here on
the Rubber Duck Syndicate. That's maybe our best coordinated intro yet.
Yes, we did it. It now finally happened. I've been going through videos and doing snippets. There have been a couple that we kind of match up on. We're just all sync a little bit, but
usually we both realize that this is where we should start the intro or whatever. It's a welcome. Usually one of us is busy laughing at the other one right at that point.
Yeah, but that's what they're here for. They're here for the ha-has and the jokes, and they're what? And some of the people that commented, they're what the fuck are they talking about? You're we are talking nonsense. That's exactly what we're talking about.
It makes perfect sense in context.
However,
we are providing no context.
And we want you to look it up. We'll be oh.
Yes, we're a podcast. We want you to watch this, but we also want to give you homework.
But they're already at home or at work.
And subscribe.
Yes. Subscribe.
Yeah, we have to do better about begging for that.
Yes. Subscribe, hit buttons, ding bells, all that good stuff. Just like us more so that we can do this as a full-time career. And you may be mad. We're fuck them dudes. They shouldn't have full-time careers. Yes. Let us have full-time careers. There's other content creators out there who have full-time jobs doing this. And they're not half as funny as we are. Sorry, other content creators out there. I'm taking a jab at you so that we can get more subscribers. But we will apologize later on after that.
So no, I know some of the content creators you're talking about, and no, we're not going to apologize.
Well, they're in their own realm. They're doing their own thing, so they're not going to bother us.
Without calling out anyone in particular, it is a safe statement to say that within the realm of podcasting and online video content generated by individual consumers,
yes,
there is some awful stuff out there regularly.
Yeah. And we're talking about there's other people out there who are making other fucking content. I will acknowledge that. But there's also people out there that are spewing just hate, misinformation, and just overall not being helpful in any kind of way, which is a weird kind of thing. But they'll have thousands of subscribers who are listening to them, but they're talking about absolutely nothing. We talk about nothing, but we talk about it in a fun way.
Yeah, we're positive nothing.
Yeah, we're positive nothing, but we're also
we're nihilists, but we're nice about it.
We talk about nothing, but in a fun way. We're banter back and forth because there are some others out there that will essentially they just talk at this person not have a conversation. They're just talking at them and not really having a back and forth dialogue.
You're gesturing very aggressively.
Shut up. You know I talk with my hands. We gotta have some kind
It's
of...
because he's Italian.
I do Italian magic.
Also, Italy, we're sorry.
No, we're not.
We like your food, though.
Yes, we do.
Whew. Okay. Speaking of abrupt segue.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have anything on the list? We haven't looked at the
No,
list.
I'm putting that on you today, sir.
Oh, everything's on me today. It's probably my turn, in all fairness.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you are much overdue, sir.
Yeah. Oh, has been doing the majority of the work on this podcast for several months now. So,
as the blacks do.
This is a callback to an earlier conversation in the car, which was much funnier and less making me look really awful.
That's what we're here to make each other look awful. But no, like I'm obviously I'm joking, but like I have been doing a bulk of the editing, posting, things like that, and Daniel now has to get on board and doing that.
Apparently, I can't just get away with being charming online anymore.
No, you can't do that because I am the cuter one.
You're cuter, but I'm distinguished.
And, because someone did.
Apparently, I'm like a silver fox now.
Like somebody said that to you?
No.
Okay, well, no.
I can dream.
Oh no, well, truly you are because like
I don't know what actually qualifies one as one of those.
I think I want to say probably more like a silver fox. They maybe like have to be past a certain age, so I think
I'm an aluminum skunk.
New band name, Aluminum Skunk. Or if you want to say the British way, aluminium. Which is probably the right way to say it.
It would have to be metal, but not heavy metal.
I see what you did there, sir.
Is there such a genre as light metal?
There could be.
There's speed metal, there's death metal, there's black metal, there's heavy metal, which I think encompasses a lot of those.
Yeah.
There's epic metal, hero metal.
There are a lot more metals out there than I knew about. Because I know that we talked about it briefly. Sir, he passed away. He played Sauron.
Oh, Christopher Lee.
Yes.
It wasn't Sauron, it was Saruman.
Sauron. There we go.
Sauron was a big floating eye.
Yeah. Someone's going to come after me in the comments.
We have to head off like the Lord of the Rings fandom. Like, we know.
Yeah, we are aware. I'm sorry. I said the wrong name, but Daniel corrected me, so we are okay.
Also, Tom Bombadil says hi.
As he's just going anywhere he wants to in that land. He's like, I can go anywhere and do anything I want to. Nothing affects my life.
You're like, I suppose I could have, solved all of the problems of the world. Or not.
But he was in a metal band.
I think I knew that. Christopher Lee was apparently one of the most interesting people to ever live.
Yeah, he was.
He was like a spy in World War II, and he was in a metal band, and then he was fucking Dracula, and then it was Saruman. Just his acting was widely rated. He was the man with the golden gun in James Bond.
Count Dooku.
Yeah, Count Dooku, which I love the fact that they made him a count.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Like he had an amazing life and an amazing career, but the fact that, like I said, he was in a metal band with his voice, like he didn't. It wasn't like so much singing. He would just kind of do almost like a monologue in the song, and then I guess like someone else would do like a chorus, but he would come back and do more of the monologue and talk about a
dramatic metal.
Yeah, I would say like a more dramatic metal thing because like he would come in and like tell a story of this epic battle or this epic hero or something kind of going on.
Read Lord of the Rings, which
he could
was straight up a thing that metal bands. Fucking Led Zeppelin did that, or didn't read it, but they referred to Gollum in the Land of Mordor, which I was very conflicted about as a young nerd. I was like, this is cool, right? It's Led Zeppelin talking about Mordor and Gollum, but should I be upset, or should I be proud of this? Should I be worried that they're not doing it like in canon, or they're not respecting the canon, or should it just be fun? And I decided that I liked it as fun.
Yeah, I would say that like you should look at that as just fun. Enough that like they made a reference to something that you like, that something, well, it was world renowned anyways. But the fact that like it's never really talked about, I guess like at that point, aside from like if you read the book, you know about it. But now more, I mean, more people know about it because of the movies and the books. Which I think they're going to be remaking the movies again some point.
Seriously?
I think so, but
They put so much money and effort into those movies the first time around. They're remaking them?
yeah, they're.
What are they trying to accomplish?
I don't know. They feel like it needs to be updated, but you also have to think at this point now, they are about 20, nearly, oh no, 20 plus years old.
Yeah.
Because the last one came out in like 2003, I believe.
Yeah, it was early 2000s.
Yeah, 2003, 2004, like around that period. But essentially, more than 20 years.
But you don't have to remake everything after 2 decades, do you? Is that a rule now?
No, but not so much. You don't have to. But they felt like, oh, probably we could, with better technology, better cameras, better things like that.
I mean, why aren't we like remaking Killer Clowns from Outer Space? I mean, it's been way longer than 20 years on that one. And that one, I guarantee you, has enough of a cult following.
Enough that they made a video game about it.
They did?
Yeah. There is a Killer Clowns from Outer Space video game that exists.
Wow.
It is out there. I don't know what it plays like because I'm not big on killer clowns. I don't want to be turned into a human marionette. Or, take a pie to the face and when it burns my face.
Yeah, being dissolved by the pie. That one, yeah, like not only were they like murderous aliens, but they were dicks about it.
Yeah, they were. Like, we're from outer space, but we're going to be outer space assholes.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to be.
It's not that we're hungry and idiots. Like, we're going to fuck with you and terrorize you and then turn you into cotton candy and drink you.
With a silly straw. That's the key thing.
This movie was cinematic genius, folks.
Just the fact they're like, okay, we want these killer clowns. They want them to be scary, but also fun and lighthearted too. With the silly straw and pies. And, having a thing where they can just turn their neck around and look at you.
Yeah, I mean, the idea, though, of taking something, like clowns, which on their face are supposed to be, funny and present joy and all that. It's supposed to be, like, related to circuses, even though lots and lots of people have fears of clowns.
Yes.
But they're taking something that ought to be fun and pleasant and friendly, and they are showing a very like sinister, awful, dark take on that. Which, I mean, I guess that's probably like the most basic thing that you can do to make a decent horror story.
Yeah, it takes something that is joyful and
or just ordinary and
Yeah.
make it dark or sinister.
Yeah, I guess that's the same thing with child's play and like Chucky. Like, you see this small doll, you're like, oh, a small innocent cute doll. Even though the Chucky doll was not cute.
Wanna play?
But you only think like, oh, this is a murderous doll thing. No, you'll get killed.
Yeah, well, a lot of there's been a lot of comic interpretations of like how you would deal with Chucky, and it's like, oh yeah, remember that he's a 3-foot doll. You can just punch him into next week.
Yeah.
But like that wasn't. I haven't actually seen all the movies or any of the movies all the way through.
Yeah.
Because I have a very rich imagination, so like certain horror movies, especially when I was a kid, like horror movies could traumatize me. So did not watch a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But what made the Child's Play movies like how they worked, wasn't that there was a doll out to get you like the least scary monster of all time. It was nobody knew the doll was possessed.
Yes.
Nobody knew the doll could come up. So the doll was like sneaking around and killing you from the shadows, and like something that you can't see and don't know about killing you. That's genuinely scary stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it's a doll or like the Thing from John Carpenter.
I mean, which I end up finding out via YouTube TikTok, whatever. Which something I guess like a lot of people knew when the first scene when the guy was getting off the helicopter with the dog, which was actually a thing.
Oh, yeah, they were chasing it with the gun.
Yeah. The guy was speaking in like I guess he was Swedish or whatever.
Swedish, yeah.
Whatever language he was speaking, he was saying, "No, no, no, that is not a dog. That's something else."
We have to kill it.
Yeah, you have to kill it. So he was yelling at them.
He was trying to save them.
Yeah, he was trying to save them, but they were like, "Oh, friendly dog, cool." And then I'm not sure what happened with that guy.
I think something happened, like the helicopter wrecked or something like that. I forget. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Yeah, but like, the guy was trying to warn them like at the beginning, so people that spoke that language kind of already knew what was going on.
So they couldn't release that movie in Sweden.
Well, if they did, they probably just changed it to English or Spanish or Hungarian or something, so that like it's a language that they don't speak.
There's this super Norwegian-looking, like blonde-haired white guy chasing that dog. He's shouting in Mandarin.
Ooh, you know what? I wanted to. Swahili.
Swahili.
Or the one with like the slight clicks in it.
Was that Osa?
Yeah.
I love the clicks.
There's a blonde dude just like, he's like, oh, and they're like, what is he saying? Oh, dog, cute. Oh, this dog is gonna murder everyone here. Which did happen. I think the only person that lived was Kurt Russell.
There was two characters at the end that lived, but there has been much fan speculation about whether they were both survivors or
both infected,
or one of them was the thing. And I saw a recent, fairly compelling argument that Keith David's character was actually the thing in disguise. Yeah, but the bigger issue I think is that they had like not enough fuel to get out. They were going to die in the desert, no matter the blizzard, or the frozen wastes of Antarctica, where the hell they were. Like there was no making it out for either of them.
Yeah. But they both, essentially, they were going to die. So you're like, oh, the thing's going to die with them. Either if they both were survivors or if one of them were infected. But, I hadn't seen that in a while. That's also one of those ones that they talked about doing a remake.
They've already done a remake.
They did?
Oh, yeah. Like, in the last 10 years, they've remade the thing. Yeah. I don't think it did very well. I don't think it was a horrible flop, but there's just no reaching like the level of cult status of the John Carpenter version. But even the John Carpenter version was a remake. I think they made it at least one more time. That might have been the third version of the thing.
Ooh.
Because there was a black and white one. There was at least one black and white one. I think there might have been another one, and then the John Carpenter version, and then there's at least one remake of that. So the thing has been remade at least 4 times, I think.
I was not aware of that. Yeah. And now you guys know that the thing was made several times.
Yeah, look up the exact number. I just said 4 confidently, but maybe not.
Yeah, more of the homework you got to do. Yes. Or type in the, we'll tell you.
Someone Google for us because we can't be bothered.
Type in the comments, the thing has been made this many times. And if you do that, I will like and say something else on the comment.
Of course, this is one of those things where you can say, hey, look up that thing for us on Google. And we're not being vague.
Yeah. I dislike you so much sometimes. Because you are so proud. You're like, I'm going to say this joke, and it's going to land.
I can see the joke just going right into your brain.
Yeah.
Like an ice pick.
And it hits, and I'm like, I was like, damn it, that's clever and funny, but fuck.
Yeah, much of my life is like that. It's like everyone acknowledges, oh yeah, that's really clever and witty, but God, I hate you for it.
Well, they probably hate you, like not you directly, but they hate it because like they know it's like essentially a dad joke, or it's a clever joke, and that they didn't make it themselves. You're like, fuck, like I could have came up with that.
Yeah, there was a student in one of my classes when I was at NC State. I was in choir with him, one of the many choirs I was in, and he argued passionately that he claimed that he had supporting evidence for this, but he said that the pun was the highest form of logic and reasoning.
Okay.
And I get sort of what his argument was is that the associations that you have to be able to make with like pop culture and linguistics and getting the joke and making the joke. I mean, it is a level above just like writing a sentence. You have to be a special kind of informed and
clever, intelligent, knowledgeable. You have to be all those things to make a very good pun and have it land and have people understand what it means.
Yeah, which is fun to think about, like the fact that he might be right on his argument that it is a higher form of reasoning and logic and thinking, but it's still dad jokes.
Essentially,
all the way down.
Yeah, it really kind of is. And as much as you want to, fight tooth and nail on dad jokes, sometimes they are very clever and very funny, and it's just how it's delivered. And because it's by your, essentially it's by your dad or your uncle or some kind of male figure, or maybe even your mother, who delivers this joke in such a way where they're like, I know this is funny. I'm going to say it to you. I'm going to say this line, and I'm going to look at you dead in the face and dare you not to laugh. And then, as a kid, you're like, damn it. Essentially, that's how it goes. Before I lose my thought about it, I thought about maybe one or two different things that we can do for the Rubber Duck City podcast, or essentially on our own, whatever it is. And one I've already described to you, but maybe this is early preview for the audience out there. The first one I've talked about was No One's Favorite Movie.
I remember that. You pitched that before.
Yeah. So how I would describe it to the audience out there, if we would watch people recommendations or movies that we see that didn't completely flop in the movie theaters or on streaming, but just go back and watch it and see what things we could point out that we liked or disliked or what was hilarious about it.
Yeah, and there's also a certain class of movies that you can describe the plot of the movie, and many people say, I remember that. I think I've seen that movie, but no one can tell you what the movie is or when they saw it. There are some movies that were on, and a lot of people actually saw them, but they didn't register in the pop culture canon.
Yeah,
and so it's one of those things that if someone pulls that up, it's like, oh, I remember watching this when I was a kid, but you had never thought about it from that moment on.
Yeah, until someone mentioned it, you're like, oh crap, I do remember that. I remember this point, and then you go back and watch it, like, this is not the movie I watched. Or it may be, but you remember some parts being a lot more epic, and then you go back and watch it, you're like, this is not as good as I remember. But say the remake of the Thing that came out within the last 10 years, maybe not horrible, maybe not the greatest, but that'd be one of those ones that we're like, hey, let's watch it, review it, and we'll tell you about it.
We need to have a film studies class where we get a bunch of other nerds together. We're going to watch the very first thing, and then the next day or next couple of days, watch the next one and just go through them sequentially and figure out all the common elements and what changed, and then just basically geek out on it.
Yeah, you could. The other thought I had for an idea is, I don't think I told you about this one. I'm not sure what to call it, but essentially, you know how, say, for NCIS, CSI, wherever those kind of shows are.
Procedural dramas.
Yes, thank you. You always meet the killer or the person who did it early on, but they're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, there's the one that obviously did it, and then there's getting to prove it or catch the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to start a series like that with you or guest people that we try to guess the killer or the person who did it early, but then we'll find out like who actually did it, and then we'll like devise points. So
certain shows are easier than others. It's like NCIS, like the first 10 seasons of NCIS did a fairly good job of having like balanced storytelling, and it wasn't always immediately obvious who the bad guy was.
yes,
But since that show, I don't even know how many seasons they've been on now, but like
they're probably like 30 seasons in.
that's a lot. But yeah, after somewhere around the 10-year mark, that's started to dip because they ran out of stories to tell, and then like all of the main cast left.
Yeah, there were like maybe like one or two.
Yeah,
people
so
that were left.
there's only like one or two original players left, and like even one of them I think was not even like from the first season. There's like there might be one person left in the very first season. But they're I don't know. I kind of gave up on watching it a while ago. But from like my parents who have still watched it fairly regularly, they tell me that, and also whenever I sit in and catch part of the episode with them, it's like, okay, oh yeah, that guy did it. And without fail, it is a very telegraphed storytelling.
Yeah.
So
I thought about this because I finished watching The Mentalist.
still need to. That's on my list of stuff to go back and watch.
I will say this: spoilers. Spoilers.
Also magic.
Yes. Hold on. Italian magic. In The Mentalist, yeah, the guy is charming. He's blonde and smiles, and he has a dead wife and kid. Unfortunate.
That's the whole show, folks.
Yeah, well, they tell you that at the beginning.
Well, if I remember correctly, it is relevant to the story.
Yes, it is. But he straight up murders like 2 people and gets away with it. Like 2 or 3 people he just straight up murders, and they're like, oh, you did because of this? Okay. I'm like, he murdered not just like 1 person, 2. At least 2.
I did not know that. But we've already talked about the casual murderer that is, so easy to find in American TV now, like Reacher. Like the first season.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, the first season was like, wow, like very subtly written and like talking about like gray areas in justice and stuff like that, and like being like morally straightforward and right, and being the right one. And then by the time we get to season 3 or 4, whatever it is, it's like, okay, we're just gonna murder everybody.
It's like, this is a murder spree.
Yeah, and I got some murdery friends that are gonna help.
Hey, you want to help me commit murder? Yeah, let's do it.
Because we used to be in a military unit together, and we were always right then. So, hey.
But getting back to, let's say, The Mentalist and the premise of like what we can do, watching throughout like I think there was like 6.
Sorry, it looks like you're controlling a marionette.
Shut up. I'll just talk with my hands down like this the entire time. So that I just feel like a bot. Oh, that is gross.
We are easily entertained here at the Rubber Duck Syndicate.
We are way too much, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it too. All right, The Mentalist. So after watching the I think 6 or 7 seasons of it, you can kind of tell like who the person is. But that's also with a lot of the crime drama things. You're like, oh, when they're meeting the murderer, like they're innocent enough at the beginning. They're like, maybe it's this person.
It still could be somebody else.
It still could be someone else, but then you find out like, oh, it's this person. But with The Mentalist, and this is not anything against the writing, but I think they just kind of had the formula. It was always the second or third person that they end up meeting that was the killer, the person that did it, whatever it was. So then in my mind, I would have to be like, oh, they're talking to this person a little bit too long, and they're giving out a little bit too much information. It's this person.
Sometimes you can tell by how famous the actor that they cast for the role is.
Yeah, because there was
like if somebody you recognize, there's like a 50% higher chance that that's the one who did it.
Yeah, there was one of the guys from Modern Family. He was one of the killers. Spoilers. I'm sorry.
He was one of the killers on Modern Family too. Spoilers.
Be funny if they were
That show hits different now, doesn't it?
Yeah. There was young Sheldon's dad. He was on there.
I haven't seen any of the Big Bang Theory spinoffs, but I have been getting inundated with clips from Big Bang Theory and all of its related shows on our TikTok feed.
Yeah.
So I've decided that that's also on my list with The Mentalist to go back and watch.
Someone said it very early on, and it stuck with me. And there's I don't have anything against the show.
Something white people.
No, well, a little bit related.
Can't really deny that.
So, like in the very first, like first or second season of The Big Bang Theory, one of my friends watched a few episodes of it and told me about it, and I was kind of interested. I was like, "Oh, what's it like? What's your thoughts about it?" And he said, in kind of context, he's like, "It's nerddom blackface."
You're saying they weren't true nerds?
Well, it was.
Because there's a lot of deep pop culture in that show.
Yeah, well, I guess in the first or second season, it was probably more, maybe surface kind of things where they were referring to. Possibly, never seen it, don't know. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm sorry. But he was saying it's it was essentially you said blackface or nerds, and I'm like. Okay.
I have a sort of visceral response to that characterization because it's equating something pretty horrible with something that is not. And also, being a nerd or being a geek just means, and I'm not the first person to make it, I wish I could remember where, I think it was I can't remember if this was an essay I read or somebody had some brilliant clip that went viral, but they're talking about trying to gatekeep nerddom and geekdom. It's you can't be a geek because I like this first. The whole concept of being a geek about something is that you like something enough to talk about it.
Yes.
And the idea that you can be an inauthentic person, if you're just pretending to like something because you think it'll make you popular with people that like that thing, or you think it's somehow ironically cool or cute to be a nerd or a geek. I mean, the idea that people are cosplaying as nerds is the nerdiest concept I can think of.
Yeah.
But also, it doesn't make any sense. And also, as a nerd, like my stuff. Come join me. We can geek out together. I can tell you how awesome everything was and why I have fits of squealing glee about some of it.
What's your your nerddom go to of I know a lot about this particular thing that is nerdy, geeky, whatever it is. What's your kind of thing?
Well, I mean, without specifying it, I will probably say sci-fi television. There are very few shows that I will decide I want to watch again. Because usually when I see something, I get the story the first time and I remember it. But occasionally there's a show that I want to go back and watch from the beginning and see details or how they did an episode.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I just really get into the story from episode 1 on. And, I remember most of the details.
Yeah.
But there are a handful of shows that are worth rewatching and have been on my list to go back to or that I've already rewatched.
Because one of you said was the Expanse.
The Expanse is that is amazing sci-fi storytelling, and also I love the acting. And it's got what's the name of the actor? Shora Agdashlu.
Okay.
She's a venerated longtime actress who you've seen in something or other, but she has this great voice, like she's been smoking gravel cigarettes for 25 years. And she's just amazingly, she has a wonderful voice, and she has everything she says sounds serious as hell. So even when she makes a joke, it just
it should hit me I'm not sure if this is serious or not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but she's one of my favorite parts of the show.
Speaking of voices, someone did mention that Daniel sounds like J.K. Simmons.
It says J.K. Simmons crossed with Seth Rogen, which I mean, I love, or I'm very honored to be compared to J.K. Simmons, and I suppose also to Seth Rogen, even though I don't think of his voice so much as Maybe my mannerisms are like Seth Rogen, or maybe I just really needed to trim some stuff up.
Oh yeah, he's trimmed, ladies.
Yeah. So I no longer have the big fluffy beard. So
your thighs are safe now, ladies. Safe thighs save lives.
My greatest advocate, folks.
I want you to get laid and have thighs around your face.
Yes, and everyone knows that the
lady thighs.
The most surefire way to attract the opposite sex is with a podcast.
Yes. Get some of that podcast puss.
Oh yeah. Gotta fight the women off with a stick now.
Meat stick. You said it. I didn't.
No, you said it. I said stick.
Meat stick. Go beat.
I want to shut this down, but there's also a part of my brain that's like, do the Randy Savage voice. Snap into it.
You don't want them to snap into it. Oh God, that would hurt.
But that's the only possible way we could go for a meat stick joke that is not in the wrong fucking direction. So Randy Savage it is.
Oh, okay. Also go backwards too, just like.
Okay, now I don't even know what you're doing, and now I'm afraid.
Should be afraid.
You frighten me.
Okay, that reminds me of a joke that I've heard. I'm not sure where I got it, but I heard it. So, a gentleman had been having problems with his wife, pleasing her sexually. So he's like, I gotta do something. I gotta figure out. So he goes to the doctor. He's like, hey, I've been having issues. Can I help? What can I do? He's like, all right, hey, take these pills, 30 minutes before, and you'll be fine. And he's like, okay, cool. He's like, if you really want to excite her, after you take it and you get ready, hit it on the nightstand a couple of different times to to get her attention. He's like, you know what? I haven't done that. That'd be great. So the guy goes home. No, just
you're building a very detailed picture.
Yeah, I'm trying to lay it out. So the doctor was like, okay, John, go home, do that. You'll be great. It's like, okay, cool. I'll see you later, doctor. I'll let you know how it goes. He said, well, Dr. Benson or something like that. So he goes home, takes a pill. 30 minutes later, he's ready. He's rock hard. His wife is in the bathroom. He's like, oh, I'm ready. So he goes, hits on the nightstand a couple times. And she's like,
who is it?
No. It's like, Dr. Benson, you're here? Yep.
Should have seen it coming.
Yeah, so should she. Oh, so good. I love it. But yes, we'll get to a series.
When did we become a vaudeville act?
We should really lean into that.
I mean, there's an obvious joke about I'm the straight man. But that's how it's been played. You're sitting here telling these excruciating jokes. I was like, oh no. Third base.
Who's on first?
We'll work on that act, folks.
Yeah, we definitely could do kind of set up like a section of the vaudeville thing.
Yeah, it has been one of my great regrets that I have never learned the who's on first bit with somebody all the way through.
We'll work on that, folks. We'll come back to it. But that is actually a good thing to kind of work out because you have to have that balance and timing with that other person to go back and forth and not break but still continue the joke. Because there was a somewhat, this was years ago, a kind of a vaudeville improv kind of thing You may have seen it where the guy was just like, he was like passing out the entire time. I don't know why or what the reason was, but he would just like pass out and fall, but the other guy would catch him and kind of set him up. The guy would say like a couple lines of like, so they worked on it back and forth to like know like where he was going to fall, where he was, like how he was going to fall. It was
choreography.
Yes, it was choreography at its finest. We're not going to do that. I do have the ability to pick Daniel up, but I don't want to do that all the time.
Yeah, only when there's a necessary Scooby-Doo joke.
Yes. I think, because we did do that one time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was worried that we were both going to die.
No, don't worry, I got you. I don't think,
Oh, strong like bull.
I don't think Todd, at the last show, I don't think Todd was going to think I was going to pick him up.
He looked very surprised.
He's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I lost. I really wish I could just like put him on my arms like this, while he was on all the way on the ground. So I just kind of just lifted him up enough to get him off the ground.
You touched on a problem from not really a problem, but it is an issue that I must contend with on the regular.
Okay.
The fact that I am this big and like I am the biggest person on on Swell, the improv music team that I'm on. I'm
Swell Improv in Charlotte. Go look him up.
I am easily the biggest person on that team, but there are also
Play Cousins Improv.
Yeah, yes,
Charlotte. Look him up. We're here.
We'll pop some links in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the links.
But among other players on the team that are smaller than I am is Ryan. And
yes.
You know Ryan. Ryan is hilarious and delightful, and she is also.
Does she go by he or they?
She's she.
Okay, she is a she.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think she went by they for a while, but
yeah.
Now she is once again she.
Okay, making sure.
But she is also tiny and compact, and like I have to basically like someone's like okay. Not a kitty. Can't just pick her up and because it would be funny objectively if I just picked her up and carried her around the stage.
Yeah.
And I could make all kinds of great. But that is it's really using a person as a prop, which is not cool. So I'm not saying that I have to constantly restrict myself from grabbing this person and Ryan, you don't have to worry. I'm not just trying to manhandle you all the time. I promise.
Well, don't do it. Well, also subscribe, Ryan.
Please, or I'll pick you up.
Shake you like a baby. Yeah.
But being bigger than all the other players on the team, the physical comedy is different. On the team that we used to both be on, which was Last Kids Picked. That we had
a casual affair.
Lately called a casual affair. There were two players in particular, Lori and Mimi, that were 100% committed physically to any of the basically any scene they were in, and apparently that meant that they would indirectly beat the hell out of me.
Every time.
Yeah, it's because apparently I'm just large and I can take the hit, and so they were going to take me out one day. But it definitely was funnier.
Especially Mimi. Mimi, okay. We'll talk about Mimi for a brief moment because we definitely love her. But she was also fully committed to anything that she was doing. So it was something physical. She would launch her body at you. And you're like, oh shit! What the fuck? But you had to be ready with her. But also... And it was an ongoing joke, and we loved her for it.
Mimi loved the C word. Hi, Mimi.
Hi, Mimi. So it wasn't she didn't say in a hurtful way. It wasn't in a hurtful way. She wasn't directly calling someone that.
Well, sometimes she was.
Sometimes she would, but. Nonetheless, at some point in the show, Mimi will call someone a cunt. And we didn't know when she would drop it.
Yeah, but the best part was when we all became aware of this tendency, including Mimi. And so then she became self-conscious about it. And so it was like a game in the show. It was like, okay, well, see, did we talk about it before the show? Is she going to say this? If we mentioned it while we were warming up, there was like a 60% chance that you would say it in the first 30 seconds.
the best one, and we know this is just a personal story, but we want you guys to enjoy it. We had a particular show there were small children in the front. Now, when we say small children, these kids were anywhere in the range from like 10 down to maybe like 6 years old.
Made us one as young as 6. I thought we had like young teenagers in our
Young
audience.
teenagers, but no, these were small kids in the audience, if I remember correctly.
I don't think we had anybody younger than 10, but I guess I am also terrible at discerning.
Well, I don't know how
people.
old these kids were. They were just
They were young and small.
They were young and small. Patrick will tell us about it, but we'll never have Patrick on the show.
We'll get him to phone it in.
Yeah, we'll have Patrick phone it in. No less than maybe 10 minutes into the show, after we did the like hoedown, whatever it was. Next scene, Mimi comes out, directly calls her scene partner a cunt. And everyone on the sidelines is fucking losing it. Because, like, we saw the kids earlier. And Mimi was like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to say it. I'm going to do my best.
Mimi was exhorting us to, play clean because of the kids.
And she just, I think first she said, goddamn. And then dropped a cunt later. And we're like, okay, we know what kind of show it is. And she felt bad afterwards. Like, I think she did apologize to the, family of the kids afterwards. But in the moment in time when, she did it, it was still hilarious. It was still funny. But, hi, Mimi, if you're watching.
We love you.
We love you and we miss you. Yeah. I would say, she was, and probably still is my improv wife. Because there's a lot of scenes that we played out where we were a couple. And I always enjoyed it.
Yeah. Mimi was good. Mimi is good.
Yeah, she is good. And we missed most of our team. We do.
We should do a reunion.
If we do that, there'd be so many other people that we can think about that were on the team that just kind of left. You're like, oh, Gail, Eric, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of...
I like most of these people.
Yeah.
Except one of them.
You know who you are and what you did.
Yeah.
You know what? We probably couldn't end there. Probably.
Yeah, well, we've spent the last 10, 15 minutes talking about stuff that is, relevant only to us.
And
and Mimi.
And Mimi. And the other 6 people that were, there.
So, yes, you can, remember, if you remember nothing else from the end of this episode, remember that he is the shape-shifting alien.
They're like, oh, you got your... Okay, that's cute.
That's really just let me know when it launches. I'll like and subscribe. By the way, like and subscribe, folks.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to say that.
Yeah, like,
Feels
subscribe.
dirty.
Like, subscribe, hit buttons, hit bells, do dinglings and things
Remember us.
Remember me.